This video will show at least three different formations, some variety to 9v9s that you may want to run. Um, you'll see that we have 8 field players plus a goalkeeper. You'll see that I've added some additional lines on the field. That's just to show you that ideally your formation you choose will keep players in each of these lanes or channels on the field so you have maximum coverage most of the time. Um, with any formation you choose, one of the most important things is that the formation creates opportunities for triangles and diamonds to exist in your passing. So you'll see that there's triangles here. There can be a triangle out of that space, and that can show you how it, everything is connected on the field. Um, so that's one of the most important things. And it also shows you who the most important player on the field is. So if you look at all this, who's the most important player, right? It's probably your defensive midfielder. Most of the time, sometimes it's not, but a lot of times it is, because they're the ones who connect everything together. So let's go through this formation. So this is a 3-3-2 formation. So 3 backs, 3 midfielders, 2 forwards. Um, in this case, we have a left back, a center back, a right back, a defensive midfielder, a left center midfielder, and a right center midfielder. And I say center midfielders because they're very centrally located in the central of the field. And then you have a left and right forward trying to give you width. Depending on where the ball is will depend on where everyone lines up. So if the ball is down here on this side of the field, for example, then you should start to see shifting of players. So for example, to create width on the field. So players will overshift into this space to try to keep things compact and connected, giving this player the ball an outlet to go here, up the field, or to connect here and then connect across. Maybe they're going to connect here, over here, and then do a little bit of a switch, right? Just trying to keep everything connected in diamonds and triangles based on the movement of where the ball is on the field. As this particular formation pushes up the field, it's really important for the forwards, even they might start out wide, they're responsible for the entire width of the field, to way over shift to stay connected so the passes are easier between the forwards. If this forward stays way out here, it isolates this forward, and there's really almost, unless this player forward has a huge kick to shift the field or switch the field, there's really almost no chance for this player, unless they have individual elite speed and skill, to come down this side and break through a defense. So it's really important for these players to always be shifting. The same thing with the midfielders, so they can be shifting together and staying connected. As they move the field, ultimately in the offensive half, you're looking to basically create 2 forwards in the box, 2 midfielders top the box, and then defensively defensive mid trying to cover the ball. And then you're looking to get these players all pressed up so that you can stay compact in the space, and goalkeeper up. And if you're really confident, you can even try to squeeze some of these players up even a little bit higher, right? Kind of squeeze them in. Now, if the other team has 2 forwards standing right here and here, then you're going to have to bring these people back to help basically make sure you always have outnumber them and in the space. But you're trying to get these 5 players to work together in the offensive spread to get into the goal position. So that's option one, and then we'll talk about a variation real quick after I pause the video. All right, so now we've set up we basically have the same formation. It's still a 3-3-2, but now what we've done is we put 2 defensive mids on this side of the ball. Or on the defensive side, so you can see that. So we become much more defensive. This is a quick adjustment you can make in game, and we have one attacking midfielder now who's trying to connect with these players in this triangle space, right? So we're trying to make triangles all the time. So we got a triangle here, right? We got a triangle here. And then we have triangles here, here, and obviously through that space as well in that space. So we have triangles all over the place. So if you're ahead in a game and you want to hold on to that lead, let's say it's a tight game, there's 10 minutes left, you're up by a goal, you may take that and basically flip from this into the more defensive side of this. So that's a very common strategy. And what you're trying to do is get these 3 players to connect up. So offensively, these players get up in this space now as they push. And then these players have a little bit more coverage through the space. so they have a little bit less. The defensive mid has to work less, but this forward has to work more to connect with them. Or excuse me, center attacking mid would work more. So you can still see that you got good coverage, and that's a common change. And then once in a while, this player might get the ball, and they may just drive in to help out as well, and this player would shift into that. Now we're back in the original formation we just showed. So that's a very common variant of the 3-3-2. Okay, I'll change it up here in a second. All right, this formation is a 2-4-2. What this does is it creates two backs. So you have a left back and a right center back with a defensive midfielder standing in front of them. And it creates what's called a diamond midfield. See it? This is your midfielders. So now you have a true left midfielder and right midfielder out wide, and they have space because they have these two people in the middle. You have a defensive midfielder and you have a center attacking midfielder. And you can see how this creates triangles and diamonds up the field. This formation requires your right and left mids to really hustle and work their butts off. Because what's going to happen offensively, they're going to drive up the field, right? And defensively, they got to come back and help create width. Um, where these three players, your center attacking mid, they will drift back a little bit. So let's look at what happens with the ball on the backside. So if we put a ball into play, let's say here, you'll find that the outlet is going to be here. This player is going to drop down into almost a third back. Your defensive mid will, and then you have your center attacking mids and your forwards still need to come over and shift over. And this player will have to tuck in until this ball is played out so you can start connecting passes up the field. But as this pass starts to come through, this player will drift wide to give a width and try to spread the defense out. And this player will drift and drift in as this ball comes in, trying to create opportunity, and this player will start to drift up the field. Offensively, then what happens is you still get your forwards up into the box. Your midfielders still kind of get into this space right here. You have width, so they can be wide or coming in. And then your center attacking mid's at the top. And then your defensive mid pulls in to a space like this with the idea that even if they have two players high, um, there's still coverage around that. So I don't know if I can make my triangle work. Some of these triangles are weird. But you can see like how a triangle of players here, and I can't rotate it to show it, but if I could rotate that triangle, you can see like we still have three people basically covering here. We'll give them the width because we can retract through it. Player will come out and cover it up. But this will give you lots of width and space to play passes through that space. So that is a third option you might be interested in. A variation on that option is where you still have just the two backs, but then you put in what I will affectionately call a stopper. They play in front of the two, but then you make a flat line. So you don't have a center attacking mid, you just have a center midfielder. And so as this goes up the field, then you get something that looks more like this up the field. So as these players come in, same kind of setup, but you basically flatten this out so they're not at a deeper point, and these people are a little bit still staying wide. So you come in very flat. So there's always options and variations around the midfield in this space with lots of variety. So those are some of the most common ways to play. Depending on if you have lots of great midfielders with lots of athleticism, something like this gives you lots of flexibilities. If you got two really solid defenders or three and you want to try this, I ran this for a year and we did okay. But it really it forces the backs to be very smart in their movement. But these are all very good options at the 99 level.